letting me know how y'all are feeling this evening. How y'all feeling? What's your mental, emotional state? What space are you in?
What is
Drop a comment in the
this?
chat. See, you don't know how to go live, baby.
I did, honey. It's something different on here.
Hmm.
Let me know how y'all are feeling this evening.
Mm,
How
come
y'all
on.
feeling?
You gotta get it
What's your
together, bro.
mental,
You gotta get it
emotional
together.
state?
All right, y'all. So I'm just go ahead and get into it. So this piece right here, some of y'all actually suspect that you might be in a silent divorce. Um, you gonna get your Cheetos too, Michelle? Michelle said, I'm feeling good. Some of y'all might be feeling like you might possibly
You
be
on the
in
wrong
a
profile. That's why.
in a silent divorce. And what I want y'all to do is to consider some of these things that we're going to lift up to actually see whether or not you're existing in this space. I do want to say again, TikTok and IG, that if you are, and Blamley, if you are, it don't mean that you got to stay stuck there, but it's imperative that you do something now to be able to shift what you got going on. And when we speak about being in a silent divorce, what we're talking about is existing under the same roof. Under the same roof, but your marriage in many respects is on autopilot. You got a routine relationship, a routine marriage, and you're just you're in a functional relationship. And so, can anybody relate to that? Just existing in a space where your relationship is just functional. You can be living with somebody up under the same roof, and all y'all doing is talking about the bills. All y'all doing is talking about the children. All y'all doing is talking about like what's happening at work, but there's no connection. There's no connection. There's no thorough, deep level communication. And so, again, you're existing in a functional relationship. And so, as we hop into these seven signs, you're going to see that in many ways, like you might fall guilty and prey to some of the things that we're lifting up. And as I mentioned a moment ago, we want to disrupt that. Ask yourself this question, y'all. If somebody looked in your marriage from the outside in, would they say that you're married or that you're just managing a household together? What would they say? Would they say to them that you're married or that you're just managing a household together? So again, if you had somebody looking from the outside in on your marriage, on your relationship, or on your household, would they say that you're married or just managing a household together? I'm curious. I want to know. I know for a fact they would definitely say that we married. I know that. And one of the reasons why I know that they would say that they married is because I be having
They
real
married?
life that we married. I be having real life irritation with my wife when she be eating cheese puffs next to me. That's just,
I
like
was about to say that.
she
I'm done.
comfortable.
I'm finished now. This is
She
my last
comfortable.
one.
Like she comfortable eating her cheese
I
puffs,
sure am.
and I'm sitting right now just irritating, waiting until she's gonna be done, so she can actually say something to contribute to the conversation. But again, what would people say, y'all? What would people say? Would they say that y'all are married or just existing in the same household? And so, one of the ways, number one, the first thing that we want to lift up is that the way that you know that you're in a silent divorce, this is one,
Mhm.
is when you're existing and you're talking about logistics all the time. Just talking about logistics. Conversations are about chores. You're talking about your schedule. You're talking about the kids, but you're not conversing about your feelings. You ain't talking about the emotional stuff. You're not talking about what's going on internally. You're not talking about your dreams. You're not talking about your desires or maybe even what's weighing on your heart. You're talking about the bills, the kids, the chores, the schedule, but nothing emotional. What's the last time that you actually saw yourself in a space where you felt seen or maybe even curious about your spouse? Where there was a certain level of conviction where you wanted to know, like, who are you? Or where you felt like your partner was curious about you? When was the last time that took place? And then you got to ask yourself this question too, y'all. Could you even go? What's the longest that you feel like you could go in your relationship without talking about logistics? What's the longest? I want y'all to put numbers in the chat.
So
What's the
that's a good
longest
question.
that you think that you could go without talking about
Like you
logistics?
can only talk about memories or what's on your heart or just sharing stories. You can't talk about the bills or what we bring into the family reunion or the kids
Mm-hmm.
soccer or whatever. That'd be hard for some folks.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
What's the longest? Let me see what y'all put in the comments, Blame. I'm waiting on y'all to drop comments. What's the longest you think you could go? 30 minutes? 24 hours, a few days. All right,
Okay,
I see
4
a few
hours ain't long.
days.
That's good.
4 hours, maybe longer if he's at work.
Yeah, this is the family. They're like, we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but again, can you go 24 hours? LaWanda said, she can go for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
What y'all say on IG and what y'all say on TikTok? How long can y'all go without talking about the logistics?
Mm.
On IG, they're saying 1 week.
A whole week?
A whole week without talking about logistics. Like they locked in on the connection, locked in on the communication, the intimacy. And so that's good, y'all. So you want to ask yourself these questions because if you're exclusively focusing about your chores and your bills and just household duties and responsibilities and the kids, then you may find yourself. This is one of the signs that you might possibly be in a silent divorce if you're just focused on those pieces. So again, pay attention to that. So that's number one, y'all. Number two, what's number two, boo?
Y'all ain't touching. Wow, bow, 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 bow. You ain't got no physical affection going on. If somebody came in your house, they'd be like, not only do they manage the household and they ain't married, like they don't even come near each other. They don't even be around each other. But on I mean that actually is real. I was gonna say seriously though, but that actually is serious. But for this physical touch piece, y'all, sometimes sex can still happen, or it might not, but the connection, the energy, the tenderness, the chemistry, right? That's not happening. No touching, no hugging, no hand holding, right? So it's again, like my husband said earlier, it's functional. So the question for you is physical affection used only for sex? Is it used only for sex, or do you actually connect with one another? And do you actually touch one another outside of having sex? Or is it just like completely absent altogether? Y'all just don't be touching at all. We ain't having sex. We ain't touching it, and we ain't hold hands. I ain't rubbing the back of his head. I ain't doing none of that. So you gotta pay attention to that. That's a big one. No physical affection. And the more you don't do it, the easier it is to keep not doing it. So remember that. You gotta be intentional.
Yeah, I want to challenge y'all who are watching this to ask and answer this question. What form of physical connection, touch, would you like to experience more of? So I want you to ask yourself that question, answer it, and then I want to challenge you to share it with your partner. Share your answer with your partner. What do you want to experience more of? Like sometimes what
How
happens
about
is
you
that,
ask your partner to just ask your partner.
yeah, you can do that as well too.
Say, let me tell you what I want more of. Like,
But I mean,
let
sometimes
me
people
tell you
aren't
what I
being
want
vulnerable.
more.
Like, it ain't gotta be like that. But sometimes people aren't being vulnerable and expressing what it is they would like, what they need, what the expectations are, what makes them feel good. And I think that we got to do more of that. Yeah. So if there's no physical affection, this is number two, y'all, that you are in a silent divorce. These are warning signs. These are warning signs. Be careful. Number three, some of y'all might be thinking that this right here is a good thing. But the reality of this one right here is that when it happens, a lot of times people are done. And so number three is you stop fighting. You stop fighting. You stop the beef. You stop the going back and forth. It just don't matter. You become indifferent. And so it seems like you're in a peaceful experience, but the reality is that I'm silent because I just don't care.
Yeah,
I don't believe
that
that
ain't good.
that you're going to hear me. I don't believe that you're going to understand me. I don't believe that you feel like what my perspective is and my voice matters. And so I don't believe that there's any possibility of making a change. So I just go quiet. I get silent. And as a result, the distance continues to grow. You think that it's peace, but the reality is that it's really a quiet resignation. This is what a silent divorce looks like. You're in your house, you're wanting to engage. Actually, at this particular point right here, when you start fighting, when you ain't talking and when you're done,
I just
you could
have
care less.
separate corners.
You could care less. Like you got your own life inside your house, independent of your partner.
You got your own snacks.
Yeah, you got. I
You
mean,
got
everything is
for
yours.
real. Like we might be
Everything
having,
is
like,
separate.
This my stuff over here.
It's my corner. It's my
Some
bed. This my man
people,
cave.
a lot of people sleeping in separate bedrooms. Right, silent divorce.
Yeah, this my man cave. This my prayer closet. And these things are fine to have, but I just want to be clear that sometimes you staying down there way too long, and you're staying down there because You could care less about being connected or around the people that's upstairs. You
Mm-hmm.
staying in your prayer closet 24/7 because you could care less about being connected and interacting and engaging with the people that's outside of it. And so you think that it's peace, but the reality, as I just mentioned, is that there's a quiet resignation that's taking place. And so be careful about the things that you're sweeping up under the rug, the
Oh,
things that
snap.
that still exist between y'all. It ain't good, y'all. This is a sign of a silent divorce. That's number three. Number four.
Number four, y'all ain't planning no future together. Okay, you've stopped dreaming, you stopped building, you
What?
you stop dreaming. I'll tell you later. You stop dreaming, you stop building, you stop having conversations, you stop talking about the future. And I'm telling y'all, I don't care how long you've been with somebody, you should always be talking about the future. You should always be doing that. Talking about what you want to do and where do we want to go? How do we want to be? Like in the future. As in like in about 15 more minutes, I'm gonna be talking to my husband about some things.
You are?
Yes, I am.
Why you moving your head like that?
I'm gonna be talking to you about some things. No, I'm just playing. No, I'm really not. Cause you know what you're doing. So anyway, this is behind the scenes stuff, y'all. But really, you have to make sure that you're still planning. And so a lot of people feel like they're by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to figure it all out on my own. I'm trying to, figure out our finances. How we gonna be retired? I want us to get a vacation home. Are we gonna do vacations at all? I want us to think about our children. I want to create a legacy. I want to start a business. I don't want to work at this job no more. I want us to go to Bali together. I don't know. But if y'all are not talking and you're not thinking and you're not planning, then what are you doing? You're just coexisting. They like your coworker. You need to have a shared vision to make sure that you do not drift in your marriage. Because if you don't have a shared vision, it doesn't hold you accountable. A shared vision holds you accountable to where we're going. How many of us have goals and things that we want to do in our careers, in the workplace, right? But because we have goals, because we have a place that we're going, it keeps us on target. When you ain't got no destination, we can go anywhere. And that's exactly what people do in their marriages. So make sure that you are planning together.
That's facts right there. And I get it. I mean, it's hard. I definitely get it. It's I see one of the comments in the chat here. I'm trying. You know, keep trying, keep pushing, keep putting forth the effort, keep communicating, keep making a request. These are important pieces to actually obtaining what it is that you want. Nobody said it would be easy, but what we do say is that it's possible. But you got to be willing to put forth the effort. And sometimes what happens is that your spouse ain't doing it, and then you feel like you're all alone. And I get it. Everybody has a responsibility. And so, what part do you play and what can you contribute to doing what needs to be done to shift the trajectory of the relationship? All right, y'all.
Shift the trajectory.
All right, what number we on? Number four? Number five?
Whatever number we on.
Yeah, we on number five. All right, number five, y'all. This is a good one, y'all. If you're experiencing situations in your relationship in which you are talking to everybody else, confiding in everybody else, your deepest, darkest secrets, your thoughts, your feelings, all you got going on inside, but you're not sharing it with your spouse. You vent to your friends, you vent to your family. I mean, hell, some of y'all even go to social media and will spill everything. And then your partner finds out by looking at your post. Anybody had that experience before where you find out what your spouse got going on through looking at a social media post? Because they ain't pick up the phone and call you, or they ain't even text you. You can at least give me the honor of getting a text from you. But no, I gotta find out through social media. Like, that's real messed up, y'all. And so, you're confiding in other people. And the reality is that in some instances, those people don't care half as much about you as your spouse. But you're confiding in them and not in each other. And again, this is a serious sign that you're in a silent divorce. Because what it's indicative of is, when I need comfort, when I need care, when I need understanding, when I need peace, I can't find it in my home. So I got to go elsewhere to get it. That's the feeling. That's the motivating feeling that I have to, everybody's going to look for it. You're going to look for a safe space to share your thoughts. You're going to look for a safe space to be heard, to be felt, to be understood. And so if I'm not getting that at home, then I'm going to get it from somewhere. And whether it be with family, friends, or even social media, yeah, you know, you're going to be looking to have those experiences. And as a result, like your spouse is like left by the wayside. And so you got to ask yourself the question, like, why isn't it your spouse? Why isn't it the person that you said I do to?
Mm-hmm.
You're giving the juice and the sauce to everybody else, but your spouse is left dry. You're in a silent divorce. You need to pay attention.
Silent divorce.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all, if you're just joining us tonight, we are talking about the silent divorce. There's so many people think just because they married and they still in the house together that, you know, we still together. There's plenty of people still that's in the house together, married, but they ain't together. You know what I mean? And they act like they think they together, but they're not. And they are in what we call a silent divorce. So this is the one right here, because oftentimes people find themselves daydreaming. Daydreaming, you be sitting at work on the computer, or maybe you in your office at home because so many people work remote these days, or maybe you pushing the cart in the grocery store, but you daydreaming. You imagining how nice it would be if you could just come home and he wouldn't be there. You start to fantasize. You start to fantasize about life without them. Man, how nice would it be for me to be able to just do what I want to do and not have to deal with her mouth? And I'm telling you what's real. There's a lot of people that be in that situation, right? So if your daydreams are about peace, when you're thinking about being happy, if they don't include your partner, what does that say? What does that say? So many people are grieving their marriage while they're still wearing their wedding ring. They're walking around sad, grieving what is not there, but still in the so-called marriage. It's a silent divorce. So you cannot change anything that you will not acknowledge. You can't start to move or shift anything that you ain't trying to see. And so we bring these things to you tonight, not to make you feel sad, but to wake your ass up. Don't be in a silent marriage. A silent marriage? A silent divorce. Or silent marriage, either one of them. Okay? Don't participate in that. You can't shift anything that you're not able to see and acknowledge. So you gotta pay attention to these things and work on them one thing at a time. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to move. I don't know how to shift. You got to get in proximity to other people who are doing the work, who are focusing on their relationships. Men got to talk to other men who got sense. Women got to talk to other women who got sense. And you got to be consistent, and you got to hold yourself accountable, and you got to give yourself grace, and you got to be motivated, and you got to make sure you connect in, and you got to make sure that you do your studying and your work, and you got to pray to God. It's a whole lot of things that we forget about that will help us in our relationships and will help us in our growth. But we fall out of order because we fall out of routine that is healthy and helpful. We fall out of good practice. We fall out of community. We fall out of being in relationship with God and seeking him first. So if we would do those things, then we would have the courage to not exist or just coexist, but take the risk to do more than that, because we deserve more. We deserve more. Every single person does. So the question is, if you heard anything tonight that made you say, well, I think that might be me, are you willing to begin maybe journaling about it, thinking about it, talking to a trusted person or friend about it, and then bringing it to your partner and saying, we can't stay like this. Some of y'all, you're like, damn, I got all of them. Some of y'all like, I ain't got one or two, I got all.
Run through them again so that people know.
6 or 7 or however many it was. You know what I'm saying? And so whatever the case may be, you got to pay attention and acknowledge it so that you can begin to shift it.
Yeah, and this is really important. So acknowledging is one piece, but then doing the work is something different.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to emphasize, let me ask you this question. And I'm gonna answer it as well too. If it's one thing to say do the work, but if I'll answer it first. If I were in a situation in which I was dealing with one of these seven things, and so let me run through them really quickly. There's a lack of emotional intimacy, number one. Number two, no physical affection. Number three, we've stopped fighting. Number four, we live separate lives, got same address, but live separate lives in the same house. Number five, there's no future planning. Like we're not having any vision, any shared goals together. Number six, you confide in other people and not in each other. Number seven, you fantasize about life without them. If I was in a situation in which I had any one of those things, what I would do, and this is not, just me saying this simply because of what it is that we do, but for the men who are in this space, I would sign up for the King Me Intensive. I would. The King Me Intensive is coming up August the 11th. And I'm saying this because you can talk about what you're going to do to address these pieces. But if you're not held accountable to the things that you're speaking about, what's going to happen is that you're going to do it for a day, 2 days, 3 days, maybe even a week, and then you're going to fall off. Many of y'all who are on here, specifically the men who are on here, you've attempted and tried before, but the reality is that when you're left to your own vices, like you're going to end up finding yourself in a space back where you're stuck. There's no continuation, there's no follow through. And this is one of the things that your wife is complaining about. And so I will put myself in proximity. I will sign up for the King Me Intensive. If you are on IG, you can comment the word level up. Again, it's starting August the 11th. You'll get a DM with more information about it. If you're on TikTok, you can go to kingmeintensive.com. Blamley, fellas who are on here, y'all can sign up. Sign up. The important piece is having clarity, which you'll get from the experience, and having consistency in your action and accountability. So I'm gonna say clarity, accountability, and consistency. CAC.
What?
CAC. Yes, having those things right there. That's what I would be focusing on if any of these things were prevalent in my marriage, and I wanted to turn the tide. I would start there. I really would. And so you can go to kingmeintensive.com to get your spot. I encourage you fellas to do that if you want your marriage. If you want to do something different, if you want to experience a shift, then you got to put yourself in proximity and you got to do the work, fam. You've tried on your own.
It's good.
Yeah, and you might even still find yourself stuck.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking about a shift, not just in your marriage, but a shift in you. A shift in you. So that's where I was starting. Now for you, if you were dealing with any one of these seven things, what would you do? You can also do one-on-one work with us. I mean, so it's so many different ways, but I'm lifting up. Well, go ahead, say what you want to say.
No, what you just said.
Well, you could reiterate it.
What you said. That's how I'm going tonight. Are you there over here like, damn it, say more. Go ahead, man.
I don't got nothing else to say.
They can go to the bio, right? Oh, what is that?
So I'm flying.
You can go to, no, I'm just kidding, y'all. You can go to our bio. You can schedule a complimentary consultation.
Yeah, go to.
I'm tired, y'all, in case you just.
You can come and help me or help
us.
us. If you're on IG, go to blamconsult.com. I can tell you just leaning all the way on me.
Look,
you know what I'm saying? You're
trying to make
leaning.
big moves from Cali to Atlanta, and
You're leaning all the way on me.
packing, and we just got back. I just got back from my retreat with the women, and
you did an amazing job too.
Smoky Mountains of Tennessee.
That was phenomenal. I gotta talk about that piece.
So good. It was so good.
was.
So like, I usually can get some downtime, but I came in this joint. It was like boots on the ground. Okay. So anyway, but yeah, I would get in proximity. That's the answer. So getting in proximity looks like connecting in with our community. Getting in proximity looks like getting other folks who are married and have strong marriages around you. Getting in proximity means being around folks and consulting with people who have good sense. And oftentimes we're not willing to do that. We just want to stay isolated because it's easier to do that. We don't want to be seen. We don't want to be judged, but look, the number one thing that people say when they come into our community or they deal with us and start to meet other folks, they say, dang, I I mean, it was just really so interesting to listen to that brother, and he was saying the same thing I'm dealing with, or for me to talk to the sister, and she was saying the same thing that I just said last week. So
Mm-hmm.
people are dealing with the same things. The difference between successful and unsuccessful couples is not the amount of issues they have. It is not the complexity of the issues they have. It
Mm-hmm.
is the skills they have and their ability and willingness to manage the conflict.
What if you're in proximity though? What if you're in proximity? What if you're a
Mm-hmm.
part of our community and you're finding yourself stuck? Like
Then
you could be
clearly,
in the space, but well, go
mm-hmm.
ahead. I
What
was
you
gonna say
say?
you could be in the space, but not really be engaging in the space.
You can. It's two things. You can be
And
in
it's
the
different
space
levels of engagement.
and not really showing up for the work, really not being vulnerable, not sharing where you are, what you're dealing with, just kind of sitting back and being a passive participant, even though you have joined a community like ours. You also could be actually engaging, and you can be really trying to see what's what, but stuff ain't clicking. In mental health and in this work that we do, there's something called, a higher level of care. Sometimes what you're
Mm-hmm.
getting is good, but it ain't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime that you are finding yourself kind of still hitting your head up against the wall around certain things, even though you're being exposed to certain things, and I don't care if it's in you're listening to certain sermons, you're at church, or you got a therapist, or you're in a group. If you're not seeing movement, because you're not going to have change overnight, but if you're not seeing movement, you're not getting some traction, then you need to level up. That means you need a higher level of care, which means I need more support. Maybe I can't just do a group. I need to be in one-on-one. I need to be doing some one-on-one work. Maybe I shouldn't just be coming once a month to the things that happen in Blamley. I should be there every week. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I don't need to just keep analyzing things. Maybe I need to sit down and pray. Right? You got to strategize and you have to be intentional. So, level up wherever you are in your life. We just want to encourage you and let you know that whatever you desire, whatever it is that you want, we talked about that this weekend at the Becoming Her retreat, the most healed, elevated, and rooted version of yourself. We talked about the fact that we can manifest and we can co-create with God what it is we want in our relationships with our spouses, with our boyfriends, and with children and co-workers and destiny. But we got to get into a place of surrender, and we got to be willing, and we got to get in proximity. So I invite you to again check out our bio. The links are there if you'd like to schedule a consultation and learn more about what we do. We hope that you have been shaken a bit to come out of being in a silent divorce, if that's you, to not be shamed about it, because ain't nobody got time for that. Shame is useless. We don't need to be sitting there being ashamed. Just get clear and be like, oh, hell no, I'm not sitting here. I'm not staying here. All right. So, everybody, we appreciate you. We thank you for coming out on tonight, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody. Oh, bye. Say bye, babe. Come on here and put your head in. Say bye.
Peace, y'all.
Bye. Are you staying on here with the Blamely?
Yeah, I'm gonna get a blame if they got any questions. Just a
All
few
right. Oh,
minutes.
I can't even reach this thing. Lord. Bye, Instagram.
Did you get off YouTube?
I don't know. Bye, y'all.
All right, YouTube. We out.